Being honest with you, I was always surprised how much views we are getting and interactions on the videos of the strategy games. And yes, for some reason, they are really very popular in these last years. For some reason, I don't know which, but I feel like people are really liking not only the games with great graphics, but with more like relaxing and kind of like a brainstorm type of gameplay. So today we're going to speak about the game called Age of Wonders, which is a very popular series of these strategy games, and its last interaction in the name of the Age of Wonders, well, have a guess, 4. So here we're gonna look at it in this review. I'm gonna try to not give you kind of like any ideas of what is about the story, but I'll give you what's going on in the game, and I'll give you all the gameplay mechanics, everything you need to know, starting from the basic and then beginning off and finishing with something that's really very important in this game. If you're not a subscriber of our channel, please be one, and let's talk about gaming now. So Age of Wonders is something that really turned a lot of attention in the past. If for some reason you never played any of these games from the series, you might be somehow interested in what is it exactly and why there is so many games in this series. You're gonna become a really big fan after this review. Or at least you will be really interested to download it. The latest edition in the series is Age of Wonders 4. It aims to take the variety of even further by allowing players to create their own fractions and rulers, and even customize the realms they play on. Sounds interesting enough? Then let's talk more deeply. The faction creation is set in forefront of everything the Age of Wonders 4 aims to be. While there are some pre-generated rules, you are able to players are encouraging and dig to create their own factories, like let's say something where the game truly shines. The system is extensive, both mechanically and aesthetically. Players can customize the way to the ruler looks and how they can create factions based on the original ideas or inspired by the media. Okay, let's talk more about what their factions can be based on. They are all of like an ancient mythologist or some kind of led by the characters from the books or movies. The system rewards coming in with the thematic concepts, not just min-maxing abilities, and it's far more fun than you would actually imagine. It's really very cool that you can create your thing and then to work on it. Factions can take any physical form, and the players free to change their default traits. The game offers 6 cultures to choose from, as the feudal, barbaric, and mystic societies, and players can apply some principles such as whether they're cannibals, or the raiders, or the magical workers, or virtually universe. Every choice impacts how they play to some degree. Players can also choose the starting time of the magic, which determines and spells their access to. Players can also create and customize realms to play on, ranging from angry greening fields of the peaceful Fae to desolate volcanic worlds, all of which affects the gameplay. Since players can choose the factions they take part, they can set up all sorts of scenarios, limited only by their creativity. If your player wins the game, the ruler can be used by Elevate of Pantheon and ongoing recordings to unlock more and more kind of features in the game as heroes. Win or lose, players earn points to unlock new factions features to realm the types of use. Creating a faction is only half of its development. The other half is determined by the decisions of the player, where making the play such as ancient wonders they capture and whether their choices align with good or evil, but especially the choices of magic tomes. And the tomes affect gameplay greatly, as they don't contain combat spells or creatures that players can summon, but also structures that can build and units that can train. The units that are granted by the player's culture never go above tier 3, but everything higher comes from like let's say tomes or ancient wonders, which identically works together for players' playstyle. Tomes also can affect players' empires' abilities, such as between Astral, Noitros, Chaos, Shadow, and Materium. Each of these inclinations has its own empire development tree, with perks that players can unlock. There's a ton of different tomes, which in each one are unique. Ages of Wonders 2 does a great job capturing power of magic and using and have sweeping changes, from terraforming land to forest and giving entire race demon wings and horns. While the difference between shields or units of two different cultures exists, they can feel subtle in the early game. There are also key principles that apply no matter what. Players block shock traps with the spear of units to lock down ranges in the shields. They place units adjustable to their shields and supports the benefits of their defensive benefits. Meanwhile, the flank and all these kind of things do really help you with the gameplay. Also, what I really want to notice is that you will need to start unlocking the summons and special units with the combat expands, and they will feel really greatly. You insert all the units into some kind of strategy types. They're all substantials to between of Alskad and Chaplain. All of them will be really very powerful and used here. This is such a quality life improvement that will make playing other 4X games like they don't do it difficult. The fact that there are two separate SKUs, that the two separate cities resources is fantastic. Different cultures and tomes offer unique structures to the building. And what about the most important thing here is that these gameplay mechanics are really great. But what about the graphics in the game? Well, the one thing I have to say to you, the graphics looks, well, not let's say of 2023. I'll be honest here, the graphics is not the main point here. The main point here is obviously the gameplay and how what you actually can create, because you're basically not only getting the simple game, you're getting the type of game that you can create on your own. So graphics can be better here. But once again, it's all about the gameplay in these types of games. So if I would like to ask you, do you like more the story of the game or kind of like the gameplay? Well, most of you, I believe, would answer that the gameplay is the most important for you.